had no idea that 6 months after I released this book that I would be fired from my job. When I released this book, my mentality was, the journey that I went through with losing my vision and how I overcame that and how that was the darkest moment in my life and how my faith helped get me through it was honestly me trying to help other people to live out their faith journey, to establish their relationship with God, to help them get through the tough challenges in life. Now, I didn't think that I had arrived, but at the same point, I thought that, the worst thing that I had went through was losing my vision. I'm at a place in my life now where he's introducing me to another level of faith. When I thought that I had arrived or I thought that I had faith down pat, he sent another challenge, which I talk about in my book about the higher the level, the higher the devil, and how a challenge is only a chance for you to change, only to prepare you for the next challenge. And so he really put me to the test, man. I'm seeking his face, getting back into the word and building myself up and trying to figure out what it is that he wants me to learn from this situation and do I continue to pursue my purpose. Funny, I thought that I wrote the book for other people, but he put it on my heart. He said, man, go back and read your book. Now, not my story. Of course, I know my life story, but within this book, there's 16 devotional that are accompanied with questions and exercises to help you live out your goal. The 16 devotions are called PowerPoint of views, and the questionnaires or the exercises after is called eye-opening exercises. Everything in this book is related to vision. The first chapter is no vision. The first devotional in here is seeing the end from the beginning. And so today I want to kind of talk a little bit about the first one. I want to walk with you step by step on these 16 devotionals. I want you to follow me on this journey as I actually go back and read these devotionals to help build myself up in my current situation. And when I did, the very first one that I'm going to share with you today, it hit so hard for what I'm going through right now that I said, you know what, I got to get on here and I got to share this with as many people as possible because they may be going through the same thing. So faith is a journey in life that requires you to keep your head up and keep moving forward. You have to turn every negative into a positive. When you have faith, there's no time for sulking. There's no time for worrying about what happened or living in fear. You have to stay positive and you have to replace the negative with positive, right? There's always certain situations that's going to have a negative effect, but your response to it is what matters, not what happens. It's what you may not know the destination, but you need to trust the navigation, right? We might not always know where we're going. God don't show us the end from the end from the beginning because he knows that it'll take away from one, our faith, and two, our development, right? So a lot of the things that we go through and all of the challenges that we face are designed to bring us closer to God. It's designed to build us up, not to tear us down. A lot of us, we run away from trouble. The first time in trouble, we end up running from it, which is why we keep running into the same trouble. The more you run away from trouble, the more you will run into that trouble. God will continue to present the same test to you until you pass it. If you don't pass the test, it'll just come right back around. And so the next time something happens, especially if it's something similar that's happened before, ask God, what is it that you want me to learn from this? How can I grow from this and get to that next level? There's a blessing in not knowing. Right? It can be scary, but there's also a blessing in not knowing. From my coaching experience, it's far easier to coach a kid who has no prior knowledge of the sport. Those kids are like a blank canvas. Right? You can create a masterpiece. You can build a solid foundation and you can build on top of it. When you acquire kids who have already been coached, who have already been trained, who have already been up under somebody else's voice, it's harder for them to grasp the information. They'll second guess what you're telling them because they're comparing it to everything else that they've been exposed to. And so that child or that player is harder to coach than it is somebody who has no prior knowledge. So there's a blessing in not knowing because when you don't know, the more you don't know, the more you can grow. Sometimes our knowledge limits us from growth. He passes all understanding. Like you ain't going to understand everything, right? But the more you know, the more you can grow. So There is a blessing in not knowing and just having faith and just believing. With my condition and being legally blind, there's a lot of things sometimes I walk outside and I don't see, but I'm not in fear. Whereas my wife or daughters might walk outside and I might be scared of a lizard, or they might be scared of a dog or whatever. Me, I ain't see it no way. So I mean, I don't have fear because I can't see it. If it run up on me, okay, when it do, I got to react the way I need to react. But at the same time, I'm not going to live in fear, right? Because I walk by faith and not by sight. Don't run away from troubles. You got to run to it and run through it, right? Why would I run when I walk with the one who runs that, right? God controls everything. Ain't no need for me to run away from any challenges or any type of situation because he got my back. You can't get to the end if you can't get past the beginning, right? And so some of the beginning stages might be a little sign of struggle here, a little sign of struggle there. And if we cave in and run and tuck our heads and go back the other way, we'll never get to the end. A lot of times, man, we discredit people who have been down that road before. I have a segment in my book, a devotional, that's titled, Don't Despise the Wise. Whether you respect who they are, you got to respect their age and how long they've been on this earth, because ain't nothing new under the sun. My dad, man, as a kid, my dad was really hard on me. Having three older sisters and a mother, he had to be hard on me to make sure I stayed straight. He knew the end from the beginning. He knew what this world had to offer. He knew what I could get involved in if I didn't go down the right path. He knew which way my life would turn if I didn't do X, Y, and Z, or if he didn't do X, Y, and Z to prevent me from getting into these trouble. He knew what road I could have went down. And so he did everything in his power. He, like I say about my son, I'd kill my son before I let him die in these streets. And he had the same attitude with me because he saw the end from the beginning. He knew what was ahead. He knew what life, how tough and how difficult life would be, and he wanted to prepare me for it. And so I appreciate growing up in a Christian home. I appreciate growing up with strict parents who didn't allow me to just hang out with any and everybody, who didn't just allow me to do, because I was able to see as I grew older, I was able to see certain ones that had certain freedoms didn't have certain discipline when we came up. When it was time to have discipline, they didn't have it. When it was time to have character, they didn't have it. When it's time to have a good work ethic, they didn't have it because they were given everything early, or they had so much liberty and freedom that they didn't produce the type of characteristics that they need to be successful in life. And my dad knew he wasn't raising no sucker. He wasn't raising no punk. He wasn't going to raise nobody that wasn't going to be able to man up and take care of his family and his kids. So seeing the end from the beginning, don't despise the wise, because wise people know. So if you're a young person and you listen to me right now and your parents are telling you stuff, y'all tend to not listen to your parents. Listen to your parents, because they know. You might be like, well, they ain't never experienced this before. Baby, ain't nothing new under the sun. They've experienced everything. Maybe a different time frame, maybe a different circumstances, but it's all up under the same umbrella. God will send laborers across your path. As long as you're headed in the right direction, he'll send people along the way to help you and get you to where you need to go, to either help you and tell you something that you need to hear, or help you with something that you need to get you to advance you to your purpose. You have to be sensitive to the Holy Spirit. You got to know what he's placed inside of you, what gifts, talents, ability, what was his purpose on your life. And every day you wake up, you achieve that. Every day you wake up, you pursue that. Like Isaiah 55:8 says, our thoughts are not his thoughts. Our ways are not his ways. His ways and his thoughts are higher than ours, right? So we have to trust and believe God. What we can't do, he can do. And I think the main point about faith, and the hardest thing about faith, is trusting in something that you cannot see or hear. It's believing the unseen. It's believing the unknown, not knowing where you're headed, not knowing your ending. It's hard to have faith in something that you don't know, but it's not hard to have faith in God. One thing I know about God is that he's the same today, yesterday, and forever. What I know about God is that he's the same door that he closed, he can open another one. And I have to trust that every struggle that I go through, every challenge that I face has his name on it. He never promised us that the journey would be easy. He never promised us that life would be easy. What he promised us is that he would be there every step of the way. I want to encourage everybody that the next time you face a challenge, don't cave, don't bow, don't bend, don't break, but instead be thankful, be happy. And once again, I'm preaching to myself too, because the situation that I'm in currently has been one of the toughest that I've ever been in. But I'm learning to thank God in the process. I'm learning to obey him. I'm learning to trust his navigation, even if I don't know where the destination is. For more word and more devotionals, check out my book, Not by Sight, What Faith Really Looks Like, available on Amazon. Get yours today.